Welcome back, Plowbois. Plowbois Podcast episode 17. We on the 17th episode of the Plowbois Podcast. The date is February 22nd, 2022. 2222. I got that Khabib with me. I got the DOC, Young K-Dog, and this G-Meezy coming at you once again for the Plowbois Podcast. Interesting topics on deck.
Until the philosophy which old one raised superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned. Everywhere is war. It's a war that until they're no longer first class and second class citizens of any nation, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes. Miss a war that until the basic human rights are equally guaranteed to all without regard to race. This a war.
The USA is watching real close this European conflict going on between Russia and the Ukraine. I think today Vladimir Putin has allowed some of his troops to advance into some of the borders of Ukraine, and he made a statement, something about along the lines that this country isn't really a country. It was land that belonged to them in the past, so they just reclaiming it. The UN ain't going for it. They've stood up against him with sanctions. USA is part of the United Nations, the UN, and they're sending troops out there to the European-Ukraine border.
Will Russia go to war with Ukraine? All week, you've heard numerous answers to this question. In Ukraine, 71% of the people believe their country is already at war with Russia. This is a complex crisis, and all the answers are hidden in history. In the 1900s, the two were Soviet republics. Russia, the most powerful of the 15 republics, and Ukraine, the second most powerful. It had defense industries, large agricultural lands, and housed much of the Soviet nuclear arsenal. During the Cold War, Ukraine was the arch rival of the United States. The Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. Ukraine became independent, as did Russia. Ukraine inherited much of Soviet nuclear arsenal, but gave it up to Russia in 1994. In exchange, Moscow guaranteed Ukraine's security and promised to respect its sovereignty. Today, Ukraine is divided between East and West in more ways than one. The West sees itself as more European. The East is closer to Russia, be it in terms of geography or sentiment. In the West, most Ukrainians speak Ukrainian. In the East, a third are native Russians. In the West, Russia is looked at with suspicion. In the East, Russia is looked at through the lens of shared history and heritage. Ukraine also remains at war. Its forces are fighting the rebels in the east. Rebel leaders are ruling at least two regions, Donetsk and Luhansk. Together, they're known as the Donbas region. Russia has once again sent its troops. This time, they're stationed right at the border. What does Vladimir Putin want? For NATO to stop expanding. NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It's a military alliance. These countries are the founding members of NATO. These countries joined it during the Cold War, and these countries joined after it. Ukraine wants to join NATO too, but Putin wants NATO to exclude Ukraine and every former Soviet state. And this is just half the story. For the rest of its modern history, Ukraine was under Russia. 1 in 6 Ukrainians is an ethnic Russian. 1 in 3 speaks Russian as a native language. So Putin is right when he says historically they were one. But claiming Ukraine on the basis of colonial history is wrong. It will be like Britain claiming India, or South Africa, or Spain claiming the Philippines. Past imperialism cannot justify present-day expansionism. Eastern Ukraine was always dear to Russia. It has coal, it has iron, fertile land, its historical connection with Russia was forced. Putin time and again talks about the Holy Rus. He says Russians and Ukrainians are one people. 70% Ukrainians reject this thought. 72% consider Russia a hostile state. Today, 33.3% Ukrainians are ready to take up arms against Russia. 21.7% are ready to stage a civil resistance against Russia. 67% Ukrainians want to join the EU. 59% want to join the NATO. Meet the current Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky. He came to power in 2019 following a landslide victory. He is a vocal critic of Russia. Zelensky openly opposes Russian occupation of eastern Ukraine. 73% of Ukrainian voters voted this man to power. Today, Volodymyr Zelensky represents the pulse of Ukraine, the Ukraine that wants to remain independent of Russia. But Vladimir Putin wants to become the man who revived Russian imperialism. He does not realize the world has moved on.
Being that Ukraine and Russia is on the brink of war, that's evident. What do you think the invasion by the Russian forces will lead to? Do you think the outcome is going to be more widespread war with other countries getting involved? How do you think it'll affect us? Or will it affect us at all in any way? Doc, I'm going to start with you. Let me know how you feel about this new Ukraine-Russia European conflict.
Yeah, it's already affecting truck drivers at the pumps. Look at the price of fuels, getting up there to close to $5 a gallon. A lot of them guys hurt. A lot of them owner-operators, independent guys out there running solo, that's out there on their own. They can't keep up. A lot of times you got to raise your rate up to try to make up for the high fuel costs. And they can't keep up with the rate. The rate's raising so fast. I mean, the price of fuel is raising so fast. The rates of the pull of stuff ain't keeping up with the price of fuel. So my opinion is Putin trying to a land grab. He's trying to grab some land. He been after this country, man, and I think he's trying to make Joe Biden look bad because him and Trump on his buddy. And I think Trump made some statements today bad-mouthing Biden. Biden don't know what to do. If he was the president, he can put a stop to all that. So you can tell where it's going, man. So I just hope there don't be a lot of bloodshed, over politics. I think this is all about politics, helping Trump out in the land grab for Putin. Putin gonna try to test Joe Biden and see what he gonna do, So I just hope we don't have no debts. But like I say, it's already affecting us truck drivers, and it's gonna be affecting y'all, the consumer, when y'all go to the supermarket. I think I went to the dollar store today, man, and I bought just a 12-pack of Sprite, a loaf of bread, and a couple of other things, about $34. Like, man, I used to go to the dollar store and buy a whole lot of stuff. So I say, man, I don't know. They all could be working together if you think about it. Who really making the money in war, man? The big shots and the people that people like Putin, people that got stock and oil prices and all that. That's who really making the money. So it's the Putin advantage to try to scare some countries to going into war, so he could line his pockets. I think he's gonna bluff. And he's going to bluff, and come springtime, he's going to pull his troops back. That's my opinion. That's what I'm hoping. He's going to pull all his troops back, once the springtime hit.
Sure. Thanks for your insight, man. I'm in agreement with that. I definitely hope it don't lead to more bloodshed. No. Habiz, what you think, man? They got a conflict out there in Europe. You think it's going to affect us in any way? Do you think what will be the outcome of that conflict that's going on right now?
I mean, it definitely will have an effect on us, but we've been in war since 2000. You know what I mean? With 9/11. But Biden didn't want to fight in Afghanistan, but he gonna stand up to Russia. I really don't think this is gonna come out to be a war like Big Doc say. It's a land grab for Putin. He's trying to put on a show, make Biden look bad for his boy Trump. You know what I mean? And basically just do it, put it on the show. You know what I mean? And it's like the United States did this same thing to Mexico. That's all it is. You know what I mean? It's just them really trying to be like us. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of like, and I think they already done this. Russia do this every so often. You know what I mean? They just kind of flex a little bit, but it's like they can't stand them sanctions. They hit them where it hurt. War is not what it used to be back in the day, like World War I, World War II. Not wars on the computer. You know what I mean? Messing up your economy, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Getting, espionage, that type, like the Cold War. So I mean, it's definitely gonna have an effect, like what Big Doc say. And if it do, I mean, I don't think the United States gonna come to a conflict because it's really about NATO. And really it's kind of like the Cuban Missile Crisis. It's like Russia wanted to put nukes in Cuba and the United States like that's too close to our territory. That's an act of war. So Russia feel like the Ukraine joining NATO, that's an act of war. Like y'all are, a peacekeeping body outside of our jurisdiction, but you're gonna come park right next to me. So I mean, I see both sides of it. Obviously, like people want to be like, well, you un-American, whatever. But it's like America have done the same exact thing. You know what I mean? As a country. So it's like Big Doc say, man, it's all a show for real, political theater, and the people that's really gonna get hurt is the people on the ground. You know what I mean? We got kinfolk in the military. Shout out Big Jew, so it's like, we hope and pray that it don't come down to that. And I mean, I really don't think it will, but at the same time, it's always a possibility. So, you know what I mean? Hopefully they got the peace talks going on. So hopefully it can come to a resolution.
No doubt, no doubt. Hopefully it definitely can get cleared up before it leads to war. K-Dog, what do you think about the Ukraine-Russia conflict? How do you think it will affect us, or will it? And what do you think will be the outcome?
Man, I think that what Doc and Khabib said, they both right. Khabib's brought up some good points. I mean, we've been at war for a long time. This ain't no new thing. It's not like we're just going into a fresh war. The stuff Doc brought up, it could be something to make Biden look worse than what Americans are already trying to make him look. You got people in the United States of America right now who talk down on Biden every single day. The price of gas right now is so high. Biden's the reason. Oil prices are high. Biden's the reason. I mean, they pointing the finger at him. The thing with COVID and some of the new strand and the way that things have been done with the mask mandates and everything that were put nationwide. Biden was the reason, So why not put something else at his hands and blame him for yet one more thing, Like I said, like Khabib said, we got family. We got family that's in the Navy. We got family that's in the Marines. We got family that's in the Army. All I can do is bow down and pray that, like Doc said, that there's no bloodshed, that none of our family members take a chance of losing a life to fight for a country that, or to fight a fight that shouldn't even have been fought. That's all I pray we don't lose anybody, any lives. But there's never been a war fought where no or not one American soldier lost their life, Bow down and I pray tonight that they can make peace.
No doubt, man. Peace. That's what we need, more peace. My take on it is this, bro. Like y'all all said, the conflict is real. This is nothing new. Russia do they flex thing time after time. They had the issue with Berlin. They had the issue with the Ukraine. I think it was Georgia a few years back, man. But they want more land because they don't have many allies, right? The NATO isn't with them. They got China as their ally, a communist country, And I think the difference between this situation and the Cold War that you mentioned, Kabis, was that Cuba was inviting Russia to do that. There wasn't like an invasion of Cuba to put their nukes there. Um, they don't want, like you said, they don't want the Ukraine to be in NATO, right? That's their neighbor. Ukraine is their neighbor. But Ukraine is welcoming the UN. The UN is helping Ukraine way more than Russia helping. So they are, they are showing resistance to this Russian invasion. They're not inviting Russia there, even though a lot of Russians live in the Ukraine. But they're not inviting that type of government or that type of lifestyle that Russia offers. So, the UN will back them. The U.S. is part of the UN. The bigger picture of this whole thing, outside of the lives being lost, that's firsthand. And as y'all mentioned, our relative part of the Navy may be put into harm's way because of this conflict. The picture outside of that we all have to contend with is the higher prices that's gonna be affected by fuel costs. When this issue starts, we're gonna all see increased rates in fuel. And what does that mean? Well, as you know, everything is shipped some way, shape, or form to get to your grocery store, to get to your home, to get to whatever it may be. It's shipped and using fuel. So that means, like Doc said, everything that you purchase now will have to supplement the cost of the shipping that they have to pay in order to get the goods and the services needed to the place where they're being shipped to. They have to charge higher prices because they're paying more at the pump. So that affects us all. The monetary, not just us putting the gas in our car, but the monetary of the goods that we need, as far as groceries, as far as your electricity bill, as far as your commute to work, whatever services that you pay for, they will go up. We're already in an inflation now. This is not a good thing. This is definitely going to be felt by many, many people that's far away from the conflict. So I think we should lend our prayer. We should definitely hope that this is something that can be settled, like I be put, with peace talks. We need more peace, man. We just came out of a pandemic that killed millions of people around the world. We still pretty much in it, but it's not as inflamed as it once was in the past, the recent past. And the first thing that we could think of doing when we come out of it is going to war. That's the first thing that we could think of doing. We got enough things going on in society and nation globally as a whole. Is the first thing that we can really put our minds to do is go to war. What is this saying about this people? What is it saying about us, them, everybody who's involved? What is it really saying? We got to take a hard look at that. And like you say, war is old as time itself. People been going to war. It's nothing new. But what does it ever solve? What is it? What have we gained by it? There's been the Civil War. We gained freedoms by that. There's been the Revolutionary War. We've gained independence from that. There's been wars fought in the history of man that have really accomplished things that have made the life we live different now and better. But this is a different type of thing. Let me tell you why. War isn't the same. Yeah, life can be lost, but now it's fought in a different way. We recently saw Russia being able to hack into a fuel pipeline and shut it down completely this past year. That was at a peacetime. They got the capability of doing some treacherous things without even pulling the trigger, without even setting off a bomb. War's different now. Be mindful of the things that you welcome, because once that Pandora's box is opened up, there are no rules, and anything goes. So don't bury your head in the sand. Be wary and be mindful of what's going on around you. Plowboy just want to let you know.
The president's office at the moment, a full-blown nationwide attack with military infrastructure that is being attacked nationwide.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're starting with breaking news. Russian President Vladimir Putin has launched his military operation in Ukraine. Statement from the White House. President Biden denounced what he says was an unprovoked and unjustified attack on Ukraine, saying Russia alone is responsible for the death and destruction this attack will bring, and has pledged that the world will hold Russia accountable. These are two pictures from the Ukraine president's office. They say shows explosions from Russian forces. President Biden adding that the United States and its allies and partners will respond in a united and decisive way.
Plowboy, you ain't no city boy. Yeah, you were born with dirty hands. Yeah, you a plowboy, and you're thinking silly, boy. Just trying to make you understand. Yeah, you a plowboy, and you're thinking silly, boy. Just trying to make you understand. Oh,